Hi, everyone. So today I am delighted to be joined by the lovely Katrine, and she might be an unfamiliar face to most of you, but I found Katrine a few years ago on YouTube. She has her own YouTube channel where she shares the most lovely videos about her lifestyle, living on land. She has beautiful animals, videos of her milking her cows, and she's got plenty of sheep. And then she also is very interested in health and wellness. So she's also very knowledgeable in that arena. So how are you, Katrine?
I'm fine. My name is Katrina.
Katrina.
It's just
Oh, there's an E
in
on the
Danish.
end.
In Danish, it's Katrine. Katrine. Uh,
Okay.
and so when you said it, you can't really say that in English. So it's Katrina. But
Right,
because
Katrina.
yeah. So it's just, but it's a bit hard to know. So yeah.
Yeah, well,
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here, and whatever I can do to support you and your listeners, your viewers, I'll be happy to do.
thank you. Yeah, so well, Katrina lives in Denmark, so hence the Danish pronunciation. But how about you begin by introducing yourself, a little bit about, what you do and a bit more about your channel. I'm sure you can go into more depth than I can.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Thank you. I have two YouTube channels. One is called Katrina R, just with a small R. That's a big channel, and then I have a smaller channel, which is called Shining Our Bright Light. And yeah, my story. I was born in Sydney actually, and by Danish parents, and my mother and father got divorced, and they took me to, or my mother took me to Denmark because it was just more safe, or just yeah, she felt that was the best thing to do when I was nearly 9, and so I had to learn the Danish language and get to know the Danish people, which was a little bit difficult. It's actually a little bit traumatic for me because people in Australia were very warm, and there was just a sort of a warmth that I had to leave behind, and I always get sort of choked up when I talk about it, because so I think yeah, I was meant to come here to get that little shock, and I think uh, early on, then then I felt quite different, but I think I've always felt that quite different to people around me. And when I finished high school here in Denmark, I wanted to go back to Australia to get to know my father, because he had stayed there and he had a new wife and two children, and he was not very good at communicating, but he welcomed me, of course, and so I spent 3 years there, and what I did was, because my mum said, how about, we had really many friends there, and one of the friends we had from when I was little was a sheep farmer who actually had been a minister at the church in Sydney when she was getting a divorce. So she actually went to marriage counselling that he had. He was just a young man in his 20s, but he left the whole church thing and became a sheep farmer. And so my mum said, how about you're going to Australia to meet your dad and be with him, but how about you go to the sheep farm, because they'll probably need some help on the farm, and you can, you know, just spend time there. And so I couldn't remember them really, because I'd been so little, and so I wrote to them, do you want a help a helping hand on the farm? So I was 18 years old, and they said, yeah, that'd be great. And they had three little kids, and so I went there. I also had a girlfriend in Sydney I was going to spend some time with, and I just yeah, I was yeah, so anyway, I went to the sheep farm, and that was really very healthy for me, because I came from a little flat in Denmark. We just been living in this little flat, and I really knew nothing about nature. I really absolutely I've never seen my father and mother in the garden. I just didn't know anything. Um, so, but when I came to the sheep farm, it was just like stepping into heaven. It was just so wonderful, and this family was very loving towards me. And yeah, it's funny, I get really emotional. So this is very
It
healing
sounds
for me.
so beautiful. It sounds really
it's
beautiful.
it was weird. They just stood there, and they had a healthy family. See, I came from a very unhealthy, emotionally very unhealthy family with a very unhappy mother and some just pretty unhappy people. All my Danish family were very pretty sick mentally, physically, whatever. So it was not a very happy sort of family situation. And there this family was on this farm, and when I came there, I just felt this is the way I want to live my life. So so they taught me how to butcher a lamb, how to milk a cow, everything. I was so keen to learn, and I spent about 6 months altogether there, sort of on and off, and then I went traveling off on my own, and uh, yeah, found a boyfriend who was a surfer, and just lots of adventure. And it was really, really, and I got to know, it was very healing also to get to know my father, and get to feel my love for him, which was really, really wonderful. So that was very healing also. So that just really started me off. I felt very much that this is what I want to do. Want to live close to nature. I want to. Animals are really important for me, and I just don't want to be normal. I just want to do. I just do not want to live a normal life. It was
Yeah.
really. So yeah, that was really the.
Nice. So yeah, you've had good experience since quite a young age
Yeah,
then on the farm and with animals.
yeah,
But it wasn't even because you grew up in a family. Like a lot of people, if they are into that lifestyle now, they usually had family members that either taught them that
yeah,
like something like that, but you found other people and actually learnt from others and just
yeah.
staying with people in that
Yeah, and
environment.
often you want to go in a different direction than your parents. So
Yeah.
that just but it was very, very inspiring for me. So when I came back to Denmark, I felt I had to start some sort of education, but I really did not want to be a part of society. I had a lot of I felt it was very our society is very sick because people just get so sick, and all you do is really try to repair whatever's damaged, and they just live very, very unhappy lives. Many people are just so sick, either one way or the other. So, but I thought I have to find something. And I sort of felt this in a way. I wanted to do it for my mother to just make her happy that I've sort of got an education, but I
Yeah.
didn't really in my heart want to do it. I just wanted to really live a very free life. So I started studying occupational therapy because that was very creative. Because I've always been very creative with my hands. I love to knit and sew and do paint, whatever, do things with my hands, play music. So I thought maybe I could use that in that job, but I never finished that course. And what happened was I moved to the country because, yeah, there was some, yeah, I was actually living with my mother and I couldn't live with her anymore. I'd been at the school for a year and a half. And so I moved to the country where I rented a room. And there I fell in love with the man who was renting me the room. And it was
Wow.
very messy because I was actually married to the Australian man
Oh, okay.
who went surfing all the time. So it was very, very, I mean, you could probably make a film about it because it was very, very dramatic. But I could feel that this Danish man who was 10 years older than me, he had, I think, I fell in love with him, of course, but also I could sense that he had very many qualities that were really good for, yeah. So we
Wait, so
matched
you
really
didn't
well.
move back to Denmark with your husband?
No, he was a surfer, went and traveled around the world, sort of
Okay.
surfing all over the place. So I went back to do my study, and he came to live with me. And the reason we got married was really to let him stay in the country, so,
Okay.
because you can't stay in Denmark for very long without being married, and that just did not work. He was just not the right type for me. So so this is the man I'm with now, and this has not been easy either. But when we had been together for a little while, I really wanted to have children, and he wasn't really that interested. But he's sort of the person who says, "Oh, okay, why not? Let's have a baby." So I got pregnant, and when I had my first baby, when she was 2 months old. We went to Australia for a year and a half, traveling around in a combi van. And so we started our life together really as a family that way, where we lived very primitively for very small amounts of money. And we just had all this time to just be together. And we went to the sheep farm and to my father and all these people I knew, because I wanted my husband to get to know these people, but also to just, he was very adventurous too. And he doesn't like this sort of 9 to 5 lifestyle either. So
Yeah.
so it suited him really well. And that was also, I think, very healing because of my family that was so scattered and everybody, so much unhappiness. And it felt really like a fairy tale to be together like that and be so free. And so
Wow.
I think this has been a big sort of a yearning or a wish in me all my life, the freedom. I mean, if I have a job, I have a job now as a church singer, 11 hours a week, which is just a really small job. And it's something I love to do. I actually get paid to go to church and sing in the church. So I think that's where we're moving in the future, that if you have a job, you love it so much that you just
Yeah, it
wouldn't
has
not
to be
do it.
that way.
And so you love what you do, and you make money, and that's just really a byproduct. You do it because you love it so much, and the money is really secondary. So this wish to be free and to do life my way is very strong in me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so when we came back to Denmark after this trip, we'd left everything. We had no house to come back to or anything, so we had very little expenses, very small budget. And so Henrik had been on the sheep farm and seen, and we had traveled around with something called willing workers on organic farms in Australia, which maybe has changed now. There's something called Workaway, but was particularly organic farms, and it could be just a little family with a cow and a garden, where you could come and work 4 hours a day for food and accommodation. So that's why we could travel for so long, because we'd had hardly any costs. And he got to see this very free life, and how living close to the land, how nice it was. So he wanted to do what I wanted to do, was to buy a block of land and live on the land. And my initial wish was to actually stay in Australia, but he very much wanted to go home. So we chose to go to Denmark, where he had parents who were very sort of stable and very lovely. So our children got to have very good grandparents. And so we had 4 children together. So I'm on this farm that we bought when I was 26. And we started this adventure on our own of being self-sufficient. And yeah,
Yeah.
the farm was very cheap. So that was sort of the initial wish, that we had to live in a place where it was so cheap that I could always be at home and not have to work, and he could go to work and have a small job. So he's been a school teacher, and it was more or less like a part-time job, because he actually didn't like to go to work, which was really quite sad. Now he's gone on. He's finished. He's retired, but yeah, that's a bit sad in a way, that he never really enjoyed his work, but he did it for us. So yeah,
Yeah. So was it so it's the same land that you bought then that you're still on?
yes,
That we
yes,
said.
11 acres, and it's
11 acres.
yeah, it's on a low area where it's quite very poor soil. So it's actually been a water. It's like a bit, for thousands of years ago, it was probably a very wet place, like a river maybe. So people would not have been able to farm here, but now they've drained the land with these under the ground. So but it still gets very wet in the winter time. So this was really the poor people's sort of place, and the farm was established in 1864, and it was a daughter from one of the more sort of fancy farms further up the road, on a higher, where it's a little bit higher and the land is better. So she got this land, the girl and her husband, and so they started farming here. And Yeah, so this is the same house and the same land. So we have 6 acres around our house, and 4 acres is a meadow, which you can see on my videos. I go for walks down to the meadow where we take our animals in the summertime
I
for
saw
grazing.
you once and you had your like sheep on leash, I think, and you were
Yeah.
taking for a walk. I loved that. I had not seen that before.
Yeah, because we have so few and they're so tame. Instead of because that's what we did in the beginning, because we knew only what we had learned from the farm, so we were very much beginners. But on the sheep farm, of course, they chased them with dogs to move them. But ours, as the ones we bought were like that. You had to chase them because they were not tame. But now we've learned that if you make them tame, they'll go with you. And so if you just
Okay.
take the leader sheep, the others are all going to follow. So, and it's much easier than chasing them because they want to. And now they're with holistic management where you move them a lot, they learn that we're going to a new spot now. It's really good. So,
Wow,
yeah,
that's
and you get very close to them also. You sort of get to read each other very well. So they know when I take them in, I just move I have I'm milking 2 sheep. I don't have cows anymore, so I've sort of downsized because of different reasons. But I milk the 2 sheep now, and they're with another female and her lamb. And as soon as I take her what do you call it, collar, and I start walking and say, "Come, come, come, come," they all come. They just walk. They're so used to it. So it's a really fun way to when they're so tame.
yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, well, my dogs need to get out of this room, so I'll be one moment just to let them out.
Okay, yeah, it's
I'm
okay.
crying. Right, thank you.
That's okay. That's
Completely
okay.
forgot they were in here. They're under my bed. I did not even know.
No.
All right. Well, that's really beautiful. It's a beautiful story that I did not even know just from watching your videos. Um, and do you want to talk a little bit about your health journey now as well? How that ties
Yeah.
into
So
everything?
yeah, so let's try to make it short, which is hard. But I grew up in the 60s in Australia, in Sydney, where there was a lot of apparently there's many things, but there was a lot of pollution from the cars then, what do you call it, lead. But also then they used lots of antibiotics, and I was just they used my mother, she just took me to the doctor all the time and gave me these antibiotics. So my gut was very ruined from a very early age. And I remember feeling really strange in my head very early on. I never really slept very deep and I always had nightmares. And so something was really wrong in my head. And I had lots of eczema and lots of stomach pain and yeah, so there was a lot of stress, physical, but also just the emotional stress of having an unhappy mother and unhappy family situation. So I think I'm just a very sensitive person, but
Mm.
there was this onslaught of all this stuff, all this medicine and chemicals, and I think pretty bad diet also. So when I reached the age of, I just really was always quite unwell, but I sort of managed my life and I sort of thought it was more or less normal. But
Yeah.
then when I sort of started learning about healthy food when I was maybe in my late teens. I also took the pill very early for 3 years, which has been definitely very, very damaging for my health. But I started to learn
Me
about
as well.
eating more healthy food and sort of in my late teens and to not eat so much sugar. And I could also feel if I ate sweets, I would just get very, very, very sore digestive system, just feel very off. And and so I sort of managed until I had my fourth baby. And then my health really, really crashed because my body was just so overloaded.
Yeah.
And I never got it tested, but I think I have those really bad genes where your body has a lot of difficulty detoxifying. So that's really, when you can't detoxify properly, everything that tries to work well can't work.
Okay.
So one of the enormous helpers I found was the coffee enema, which I still use every day, which was really a breakthrough for me. But I think diet wise, I read the book by Elaine Gottschall when I had I think 3 children. I was starting to get very dizzy and really like I couldn't think, the brain fog thing. And there I read about grains and how damaging they can be for the nervous system if you can't digest them. And that was the first enormous breakthrough that I could understand that now something's really, really wrong in my gut. And whatever I'm eating is really, really affecting me. And so I stopped eating grains very early on. And then I moved on and learned about candida, which I was pretty sure I had in more or less all through my body. And that helped me to eat a more low carb diet, which I didn't know it was called low carb, but I just started avoiding sugar and fruits and so yeah, so and detoxifying. I learned that I have to help my body detoxify because otherwise I just can't. I can't live.
Yeah.
And so then I got onto the raw milk, which I tried for. I tried drinking just raw milk. That's all I lived off for about 2 years, 2 or 3 years. I just drank
Really?
milk, milk,
Because I've
milk,
heard of
milk,
people doing
milk.
like raw milk fasts where they just drink raw milk. But I mean, 1 month is usually the cutoff.
I just kept drinking it. And
Wow.
I will say that it was very calming for me and very helpful, but not something I could, unfortunately, I just wish I could go on. But really, it is a sign when you can't eat different foods, it is a sign that something's really, really wrong. So it gave me a break from because when you can't work out your diet, you just, on top of being very unwell, you're so stressed because you're always thinking, what am I going to eat? And so that gave me that enormous break. But I found out that I was having too much sugar. It's just, I was having, because I drank so much milk, I was having, enormous amounts of sugar, and the sugar was actually quite damaging. So now the raw milk I have is mainly cream and fermented. It's sheep's milk we have. So I learned, and then I got onto the carnivore diet, where you try having only meat, and that was never the complete solution for me, but also very very helpful for my digestion. So really, a very animal-based diet is the best for me. But if I eat only meat, I get really, really exhausted and very skinny because it's very hard for my body to put on weight. So,
Yeah.
and now I've mentioned on my channels, the last thing I found is brain retraining, which I feel in myself is actually the last piece of the puzzle for me. So diet is never ever. I mean, for very few people, diet is completely going to heal them, or coffee enemas, or some supplement. It's, as I see it, it's really a mixture of everything. And I think I've been, and I can see it by the fact that I'm actually, when I talk about my life, I get choked up. There's a lot of emotion there still, and so that what do you know about brain retraining?
Do you mean like reprogramming your subconscious mind?
Brain retraining is there's different programs that are very well known. One is called the Gupta program, Gupta, Gupta program, and the other one is called DNRA, I think. They're the most well known, but I use one that's called Re-Origin, which is a small little, very small sort of, just a small group, or what do you call it? It's just not it's not so big yet, but
Yeah,
it's very
quite.
sort of personal. So you can get a lot of. I don't use the coaching yet, and I don't really think maybe I need it, but it's just a very it is actually you're doing the same thing as on the other programs. And what the idea is that our brain, when very early on in our life, when we simply overwhelmed with stresses, which might be toxins, emotional stress, uh, bad diet, something that suddenly happens in our life, the bucket overflows, and that what happens is the mind, our brain goes into fight or flight, and it gets stuck there. So the feeling of being chased by a lion is healthy for us, and that's the way our nervous system is built, so that we can very quickly run away from the lion. And that man has been living like that for thousands, millions of years, where this stressor suddenly comes and then everything calms down again and everything works well. But for us who have really most of modern man, we have been traumatized by our lives because there's been so much bad stuff going on for us that our brain is stuck in that very nervous state, and it can't get out of it. And so you do these simple little exercises to help the brain to start to go back to the parasympathetic dominant way of working, where the digestive system and all the things that need to be working well, detoxifying systems, they start to get energy again. And you do it actually by imagining, as you do different movements, you are imagining something very, very, very beautiful for yourself. So you see yourself in the most beautiful situation you can imagine. And it can be from the past, something you are dreaming of, and you feel how it feels. And that helps the brain to sort of get out of this old way of being. And helps all the systems, which are the healing systems, the building systems, the detoxifying systems, they start to work again. So
and
yeah,
the mind is very powerful, and we often do forget that today, and we kind of just focus on the physical aspects of treating health, but then we completely overlook the mind and what our mind has to play into that. So
that's right. That's
very
right.
good that you point that out. Thank you for that.
Yeah, you're
I
welcome.
think
You're
a lot of
welcome.
people are going to go and look into that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The story about the man who started Reorigin, Ben Aarons. He's done a TED talk, Ahrens, Ben Aarons. And he was in his 20s. He was on his couch for 3 years, nearly dying. He could, and he tells how his brain was really like a person with really bad multiple sclerosis. And he remembers a situation where he was looking down at his shoes, and he knew they were shoes, but he just could not put the thoughts together that what do you actually use those for? So that's how bad he
Wow.
was.
Like really bad
And
brain
he
fog almost.
totally,
Yeah.
yeah. So they did brain scans on him and could see that it was really, really damaged his brain. And it was from Lyme, which I think I've had because we get ticks all the time here. So we're just sort of picking them off. So this is just a wonderful story of how he picked himself up from being so incredibly sick by changing really his way of seeing himself, and just coming back to the real basics of just simply breathing deeply, relaxing in the moment, and accepting, which I speak a lot about in my videos, accept where you are right now, because then you can move forward. If you don't accept where you are right now and really actually get to love it, just allow it to be there, you can't move forward. So yeah, I think it's really, really wonderful.
Yeah, that's true. And I agree when you said that you don't think diet is everything when it comes to healing yourself. Yeah. It's almost like when people go to heal themselves naturally, they start there. And
Yeah,
at first they might think, okay, the perfect diet's going to be the key. And then eventually after a while they realize, no, there's definitely more to
that's
medicine
right.
than just food.
It
So
is. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
yeah. But fantastic. And let's talk a little bit about your lifestyle now with the farming, and what do you kind of do in your day-to-day life?
Well, because of this very long healing process, and also because my family life has been really quite difficult, also, and uh, I realized, and this has been, I think this is it. Everything I've been through has been was meant to be, because really this is all a matter of going through some hard stuff to really reach into our core and get to really love who we are, and to really be this little beautiful light shining in this world, we have to go through all this difficult stuff. So I think everything I've experienced was meant to be, although some things were very, very, and still are, can be, feel very, very hard. So therefore, I realized in this process that when I get up every morning, I have to just show myself so much love. It's just it's just a love affair from the moment I get up in the morning till I go to sleep at night. I really, really have learned to respect myself and my own needs. And so it's a very gentle, very loving life. So I get up and I get up very, very early because I want to be alone. It just has to be very, very gentle and very, very loving. And so I make sure I don't have too much with the animals, which I used to have. I had to go out early. I didn't have to, but when you have animals, you want to go out and make sure they're all well. Let the chooks out of their little house so they can go out. But I get up so early, so I sort of don't have to do anything out there. And so I just light a little candle and just maybe I do dry skin brushing and do a cold shower. I also do urine therapy, so I drink my morning urine, which sounds really, really strange, but I do that.
Do you find that
I lie down.
I was gonna ask, do you find that it's very like acidic because we eat animal products? Because I know all about
No, I
Shiva
haven't
and
noticed that.
yeah.
I haven't noticed that. Actually, it does change a lot, but the more mild food you eat, the more mild it is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it tastes really nice. It tastes sort of like coconut, a little bit like coconut water or something like that. So and so if you just make sure you drink enough water. I also drink quite a lot of kombucha, but it does vary how it tastes. But I just am used to it, and so I just drink it, feel good about it, and just imagine how all these, because it's like it's a signaler, it's a messenger for my immune system.
It's
My
like
urine is
living.
telling me
A lot of the fluid
it's
we drink
living.
today
It's
is
full of
not alive anymore, but our urine is like very alive, very structured. So it's got a frequency like no other
very
fluid.
structured. That's right. And it's sending all these signals to my immune system about this is what we need to do. So especially the morning urine. So and then I do my coffee, and I'm lying here, usually with the cat. She's next to me, and I've lit my little candle, and I just sort of go into myself and just really, really relax. So I really start my day in a very, very gentle way. And then I go and do the animals and let out the chickens. And I have two hens at the moment who were lying together on their eggs. So they were lying right next to each other. And so they were lying on, I think, 20 eggs or 18 eggs, doesn't matter. But they have 16 chickens that they're looking after together. So go and feed them, make sure they have water. And then I go and milk my sheep and get the milk in and maybe make some kefir or make some yogurt, the thicker yogurt, or keep it for milk, just for milk and cream. And I might go down to the meadow where I have the other sheep, or maybe my husband will do that. So make sure you look at see how all the animals are doing. And then I come home, and then I might have to go. I'll be going to the church to sing. I do that a few times a week, and where I sing in the church at funerals and on Sunday mornings at the service, and then also at the nursing home every 2 weeks. And it's a very short day, so my work day is half an hour to an hour. And then I go. So it's really, really good. And so every day is really different. I go to bed very early because I also found out I'm actually have been sleep deprived all my life. So I go to bed at about 8 o'clock at night, which is really boring.
I go to sleep at 9. So
oh, so late. So late. That's so
Do you get up
Yeah,
for
I love,
sunrise?
I just, huh, what's that?
Do you get up for sunrise? Like, do you
No,
wake up
no,
early
because
enough for
sunrise
that?
here is 3 o'clock in the morning in
Wow.
summertime. The sun is
Okay.
up. So our nights are we have what we call the light nights. So there's no darkness really, very, very little darkness.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar
And
with that area, so.
yeah, yeah. So it's Scandinavia. It's north.
Mm.
So we have long winters and short summers. And so yeah, so it's about 5, quarter to 5, 4:30 sometimes. Around 5, I'm up. And so that's just a really, really nice. I just am a very morning person. My mornings are always. I get tired early, so in the afternoon. But and at night time, it has to be really, really quiet for me, and just so enjoy watching YouTube videos about people who have healed themselves, and um, a lot about health, because I think I've experienced so much hopelessness in my life, and looked around at all these sick people and just thought to myself, what is going on? And you couldn't see a doctor or anyone who would actually say something positive, or it's been so depressing. So
Yeah.
now on YouTube, there are actually doctors who are actually saying something really intelligent, and it just makes me feel, it just makes me feel so good, that there are people out there who have realized what is it we've been doing wrong, and that what is it we need to do, and that there is hope.
Yeah, it
So
gives a bit
that
of
gives
hope, hey?
that yeah, it makes me feel so good, because often I felt I was all alone, because everybody else was just saying, oh, that's the way it is. We are sick, and that's just life, and it's not
Yeah, I
true.
hate when people say, oh, everyone's got to get something. So it's like, what are you going to
Yeah,
pick from the
yeah.
drawer?
I mean, we are going to die, definitely. And that's, yeah, but I also have this long spiritual thing. That was also one of the things that was very healing for me, because when I was incredibly sick, where I felt every day, I'm going to die today, I'm so sick, I got this very, very strong faith. It started to open up my heart to more spirituality, and to my relationship with God, which I speak a lot about too, which has been a really, really beautiful journey too. So yeah, as some people say, it cracked my heart open to be so sick, and to open up to this world, that I'm not just a body. This is just a little vessel I'm in for a little while, but I'm so much more, and I have to start connecting with that more, so that my body will work better. So stop being so focused on a physical, and open up to the fact that I'm actually infinite, and that God is in me. God is expressing Him, herself through me. God, the kingdom of God is right here. It's
Yeah.
not somewhere else. And how do I feel that? And how do I go about my day with that awareness? So that's yeah. So that's been an enormous thing to really train this ability to connect with my heart, and this ocean of love and peace in me, and let that fill me, instead of the negativity or the ego trying to fix life, because life won't be fixed like that.
Yeah.
Life wants to be lived. Life wants to live itself through me. And so how can I dance with life instead of go against life?
Yeah. That's very beautiful. And something that just in today's society, it's so forgotten and also very
Mm.
hidden. And I love that the scripture where it says that the kingdom is within. So it's
Yeah.
kind of stop looking outside of yourself. But a lot of, I guess, what we are told today is it basically takes everything away from remembering that we are, you know, actually spiritual beings, and then this is just a temporary vessel. But of course, looking after it makes the experience optimal rather than um
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah.
living uncomfortably in pain or in disease, then
Yeah.
that's when your experience just goes way downhill. So that's why health is so important.
It is. And to see that your spirit, your body is also an expression of your spirit. So when you're kind to your body and you listen to your body, you give your body what you feel it's asking you for. You are showing it the love that it really needs, and and understanding that the physical and the spiritual are not separate. So it's really all, it's all really energy. It's all love. The
Yeah.
body is love. The spirit is love. It's all love. And so it's just, we are just in this very dense matter. This spirit that is so fine is has been thrown into this very heavy, dense matter. And so we have to see how we can be here and be this little flower, little tree, and use our awareness. It's an enormous exercise in awareness, being aware of how do I feel and what should I do. And I can't lean on anyone. I can ask someone for help, but they'll never have the real, they might be able to help me a little bit and guide me a little bit, but the true, the real deep answers are in me. They're always inside myself. And how do I hear that? Uh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Within other treasures of treasures, that's for sure.
Mm.
And your day sounds so beautiful. It's almost like when people say it's a slow moving Sunday. It's just, that's what I feel as though a lot, it would benefit a lot of females, because society doesn't like to admit that females and males are, different. We are not the same, but we're different in the best of ways. And I think for a lot of females that have become very masculinized, I don't even, the tongue twist there, but or are just living lifestyles that is so far from what is the best type of lifestyle to suit the feminine energy. And part of that
Yeah.
slow moving day, and like the introspection, and then acknowledging the love frequencies that you keep speaking of, is what is very helpful to heal a female, particularly. Yeah. So that's really beautiful to listen to what your day is like.
Yeah, when I had little children, I mean, it was like, uh, it was really like living in paradise when we had our first baby, and just all that time, and to just be in this world and not have to have lots of responsibility, and just enjoying these little beings that came to earth, and just have all this time, not have to get up and
Oh
and and,
yeah.
and drive away in the morning. I just couldn't understand. I still can't understand how people can do it physically. How can they do it? How can they get all the energy? But also, I mean, people who actually are working with other, who have women who have jobs where they maybe work in a kindergarten or work with other people's children, and so they take their own children and put them somewhere else, and they go off and look after somebody else's children, and they come home at night all tired, and they have to cook. And I just can't understand
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, hey?
why would anyone want to do that? But I mean, we're so different, and some people love that. They feel, and yeah. So, but I just, yeah, definitely, maybe because of the my childhood, and yeah, yeah, I just feel the natural thing is to be very much focused on the what is here right now, and that we are to not have all this busyness and all this responsibility out in the world. And really also because I think the society is really so unwell in so many ways, so I don't want to support it. I don't want
Yeah.
to spend my time supporting something I think that it really is, I do believe, is breaking down anyway, because it's not meant to
Yeah.
be. Because I believe that we move, really, the golden age, which has been foreseen for really millions of years. It's coming now, the age of love, the
Yeah.
golden age of love. And so we're going to live very, very beautiful lives where we are loving towards ourselves. And when you're loving towards yourself, you can't create anything ugly or bad, or because it's unnatural for you. And you will do things that are harmonious for you, where you feel good. And some people have lots of energy to do things, uh, sort of uh, to spread their wings, or what do you call it, to work in a maybe big business or whatever, and other people need to be more in a little area. But it doesn't matter, because we're all here to do different things. But the thing that we will feel is that we love being alive, and we're always doing what we love to do. And it's very so that's just, in a way, I feel I'm already there, that the golden age is here, and you can just step into it yourself. And the big, I think the really big thing I had to learn was to really allow myself to live in all that love, to be that, to feel the love within me, and to really just allow it to be. And so many people in my life close to me have really tried to, I think it's part of my I mean, I've chosen it myself, but really tried to pull me down, because I've always been full of a lot of hope and joy, and really believe that life is beautiful. But people try to convince you of the opposite, and that's been really hard, because if people are in a hole, they want to get you down there with them into the hole. They're really suffering in there, and they want to get you into the hole with them so that we can all suffer together. And I just wouldn't go down there. And so and I can see it now, that you just have to let those people go, and love them there, but don't let them pull you into that hole, because life is very, very beautiful. It is endlessly beautiful, and we're here to really enjoy it. And whatever that life looks like, whether that's in a flat in the city, doesn't matter. It's you feeling that. So that's why I've started talking about the inner farm, or the inner garden. That when your inner garden is well, with your feelings and how you feel about yourself, and that you really treat yourself in a loving way, it does not really matter where you are, because you're always taking all this love with you. So, and you will be able to listen very well. You'll be able to hear your inner voice say, okay, I have to live in the country because that's what's right for me. And you will do that, and it will be easy for you because you've listened to your truth. And so that love relationship with ourselves and with life is to really, really dare to say, this is what I'm going to do. And you might think I'm a total idiot. I don't care. And I love you there. I love you there. So that's been really big for me to maybe the main thing in this process.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you that we're at a massive time of change. And when not many people know about the ages and the great year, which is just very nice to see that you know about the forthcoming golden age, which is definitely coming. And the people that know about it can start aligning themselves with it, as you definitely are. And we're in the dark age, the end of the cycle, where most people are ruled by their vices rather than virtues. And but like I said, change is coming. So
we're really returning to love, because we are beings of love, and we have been in this very holy state. That's really our home. But we have volunteered to go into a very, very dark state, which we've been in for a very long time. And it really is a lie. It doesn't exist, really. It's an illusion that we are bad and we have a bad life. We have to suffer, and all this. It's just a lie. But it was so convincing. So what we're doing is we're just really taking off this really bad old coat we've been carrying around for so long, and we're just returning to love. And that, I think, that brain retraining I'm doing is also helping me to see, because you're supposed to just dream the biggest, dream that you are in the most beautiful situation you can possibly imagine, and that is your truth. And so the brain doesn't know the difference between what's really happening and what you're dreaming. And that's really opened another door for me to see that it was really very much my mind. Also, now I'm nearly 60 years old, and you're sort of thinking, okay, life is ending. It's just we're gonna end this soon. And where I've sort of learned this is maybe just the beginning, because I am actually eternal. And of course, my body is going to die one day. But to see that everything is just opening up all the time. And life is becoming more and more incredibly beautiful, and miracles are normal. Everything is one big miracle, really. And I'm a part of it. And oh my goodness, when your mind is in that sort of way of thinking, life is just incredibly beautiful. And so you realize how much your thoughts have been holding you down. And it was all one big, really big, a big lie. And so, but we were returning to this state, the heavenly state that we are in when we go into heaven, when we die, but we're just creating it on earth. And so earth is wanting this too. It's part of her journey to become enlightened. So beautiful.
Yeah. The interesting part is that the earth itself is, beautiful, and then the system that we're living in is the corrupt part.
Yeah, but also I think it's really good to remember that all is one. And so God is having an experience everywhere. And everything that seems dark is really a mirror of ourselves. With nothing is, it's all one. We're all one. Everything
Yeah.
is mirroring ourselves. So if we if we see a lot of darkness around us and bad people, it's really just a reminder to work even more on ourselves and see where the darkness is in me. Where am I hurt? Who am I blaming still? What have I not forgiven? Because as when you clear, you are really the universe. The universe is mirroring itself back to you. So it's like a hologram. So so everything. The more beautiful your life becomes, the more it is a proof that you're doing the right thing. You're cleaning away all the negativity from yourself, and it stops being mirrored back to you because it's gone. So you're just shedding all this negativity. And so whatever is dark is just lack of light. The light is just not shining there. So allow the light to shine into your being more and more. Set yourself free to be the love that you are, be the light that you are, and your world will transform around you because it's mirroring yourself.
Yeah.
So there's no the baddies. All those baddies, it's that is something in you yourself. So that's where we find we get the power back. We can see, okay, if I see all that negativity, it's my own. I have to just embrace it really with love, and it will clear. And then the world around me will change.
Yeah.
So we're changing the world by changing ourselves.
Yeah. If you look at it that way, then good and bad are just two wings of the same bird, and
Yeah.
God's beyond duality.
Yeah, there is no good and
Yeah.
bad. It's all love, and wherever there's something dark and bad, the light is just not shining in there. Something's holding the light back, so the light can't shine properly there.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it. So yeah, so that everything is really God's body. It's all love. It's all love in different shades and shapes and forms, and nothing is really out of place. And all the power lies within you. So find the love within you and be true to that. Do what
Yeah.
you feel is true for you. Although people are laughing and shouting around you, telling you to stop doing it, do it. Just do it.
Yeah. Yes. Beautiful. Um, and then I had this question from before, but we got a little bit off topic. But I was wondering whether you homeschooled your children.
I did for a few weeks or something, or a month or something. But we did also go traveling. uh, so because we were so abnormal, because we were living like this, we were very self-sufficient. I had an enormous garden, so we nearly produced all our food. We had our own milking cow, sheep for meat, and vegetables. So and I was at home, which was very abnormal then, because Scandinavian women are very working women. they have not been like the English speaking countries. It's more normal to be at home with your children. It was very abnormal. So I wrote a book about it then, to inspire more women, because I thought this is just the most beautiful life. And so because we were so different, we thought it was very important that our children went to the local school to make friends and to be a part of society, because we didn't want our children to be excluded from society. And if I homeschooled them, or we homeschooled them, it would have been very difficult for them emotionally, I think. And they did well in school, or they functioned well in school, I think, and they made friends. They often had friends home because I was always at home, and so they could take the bus home, ride their bikes, and come home with have friends with them, and so they would walk up from the bus and bring home friends often. So that was important. That we didn't sort of make them too weird, our children.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely something people say about
So,
schooling.
yeah, we were so weird that we heard many years later, when we young parents, we sort of tried to make friends with the other parents at school, but we were so weird that people were actually afraid of us. so, so,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, well, it's just because if you kind of do what's different to society and you be like the black sheep of society, then people will think you're weird when
yeah,
most likely you're normal, and then everyone else is just modern, and that may be weird to the other side.
yeah. I think of most families, then maybe now also, they sort of feel, by being like everyone else, they feel safe and comfortable. They
Yeah.
don't like being different. So no matter how bad life is, they do it so that they feel sort of normal, so they feel safe. But I feel really opposite. I'd rather do what I like to do, is what I feel is right, and so my heart feels content, and I don't care what other people think, really.
Yeah, and that's
But you have
very
this,
courageous, which is good.
yeah, maybe, yeah. It's yeah, maybe it's strong in me from I was little, but maybe also, yeah. I think we all have a mission here. We come here as souls with a mission, and I think one of my missions was to show that we can, you, that you should follow your heart, and you are in this world, but not of this world, and you're here to really shine your light. And if the way society is working is actually dimming your light, you're not. That's not good.
Yeah.
So dare to be you, and dare to do it your way, and that's beautiful. Uh, so yeah.
It's lovely. Yeah,
So
okay.
we moved our children a little bit, or quite a bit, around to different schools, because sometimes there were such bad teachers. I just couldn't take my children to those places, so that we moved
Yeah.
them, and which was not maybe so good, so fortunate. It's really it's a hard choice. If you feel that teachers are not, just really bad, should you move them? And so there was a period where they were sort of in between, sort of what to do type of thing. And then I said that, well, you can be homeschooled, but you have to, I mean, work at home and do the work that's needed. So there has to be a structure. And so they tried, but they felt it was too lonely. And so they tried a free school, which is a very free school, where there was no structure at all. And so one of our children, she sat on a heater. She just was leaning. That's the way she said it. For a year, I spent a year leaned on a heater, because it's so cold here. Because she had no friends, and there was no one no adults structuring anything. So they've tried that too, and so that's not healthy either, I think. But children are very different, and yeah. So that's. But it's been good that our children have gone out to be in schools, I think. So that
Okay.
was right for us.
Yeah. And have
In
you
fact, we also
found
went traveling. So So we went traveling to Greece 1 year for 6 months. But we also did it when we had we had 3 little girls, and so our firstborn had just started preschool. But we felt we had to go traveling, so we went traveling to Australia for half a year, and we're also on a farm with the 3 girls, and worked as willing workers there. And then so we traveled then, and our firstborn, she started the local school, which was just over the road, and she absolutely loved the Australian way of schooling. So she really, but that was really probably not very healthy for her, because we went back home and she went back to her old school. But and then when our children were bigger, our oldest was 16. She went to Australia to spend some time in Australia on her own, traveling. Or she actually went to the sheep farm. And the 3 little ones, and my husband and I, we rented out our house, and we went traveling for half a year down to Greece, where we did some work down there and just really relaxed also. So we've sort of, we don't go on the sort of usual holidays, but we've sort of spent longer times away. And I think it's just because we don't feel we want to be sort of in society in the same way, having jobs and all this. So traveling for a longer time and just showing our children the world, that the world is not just Denmark, it's many different places and people, and we wanted to share that with them too. And so, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. So overall, would you say that you've kind of found your life living on a homestead close to nature and, every day, exposing yourself to animals, interacting with animals, and making your own food from scratch? Would you find that it has just been such a fulfilling life and you feel like you've really enjoyed living that lifestyle in comparison to what the average person lives their life as today, with convenience food and living close to the city and working 9 to 5? How would you
Oh,
compare?
definitely. Yeah, I would not have been able to do it differently. But I think, yeah, this is really special. And I can just sense it when I'm walking out in nature with a tall grass. It's very, very lush here now, although we actually they call it a drought, but some places the soil is sort of just bare because we've had very little rain. But because I've been using this holistic management, and yeah, just the things I've learned over the years, it's just very, very lush here. And just hearing the bird songs and seeing just the leaves of the trees that are blowing there, and that where we live here, there's many, many, many more other creatures than humans. And so we went to Copenhagen the other day, where it's the exact opposite. It's all humans and no animals. There might be one bird flying desperately over the sky and one tree, and then the rest is cars and humans and buildings. And you just think, oh my goodness, there's just 2 different worlds. But so we're, in a way, we also, with the way we're doing this holistic management with us, and we've planted many trees, so there's many animals that love to live here. So that, because it's really more or less bare farmland that's being sprayed with chemicals around us. So sometimes we think we're not just here for us, we're here for them to give these animals a place to go.
Yeah.
And so it feels really, although we're not so self-sufficient as we used to be when we had little children, we were very, very self-sufficient. I'm much more relaxed with that now, because I know that the main thing is that I feel good and relaxed. I have to be very, very relaxed. So we just sort of buy whatever we need, and then whatever we can make, we do. So, but it's very, very simplified now. So it's more focused on the inner life. But yeah, I really love this way of living. I really, really love this way of living, to just let nature be really, um, let it unfold as it wants to, and at the same time be able to get some food so that we can live here too. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very healing to just step out of the door. Or, yeah. So yeah, I would do this if I was to live again here. I would do the same thing. It's
Yeah.
really,
And I
it's
can't
really good.
I can't wait for the listeners to find your channel and go look at your videos after this, and they'll get all the context as to why I'm sitting here thinking, yep, I understand why you really love your lifestyle. And for there are some people out there that really admire that type of lifestyle. They want to live on land, live the rural and have a homestead of their own, but they didn't grow up in a family that exposed themselves to that lifestyle at all. So they really don't have any experience looking after farm animals or growing crops, or even, caring for land. So what would be your advice to those people out there?
Have a good sense of humor and see that you're a student of life, and that also that nature is welcoming you. Mother Earth wants you to come and look after her, because not many are looking after her. So in whatever way you do it, I mean, we didn't know it much at all. And just yesterday because we're painting our walls for the first time in 20 years or something. And my husband just hung up a little shelf, in the kitchen. And we burst out laughing because it was very difficult for him because there were lots of little challenges. And finally he got the shelf up, and I said, "Oh, this is so wonderful." And I took a glass jar and I said, "Now we can try the shelf." And when I let go of the glass, it fell to the ground and smashed into 1,000 pieces because he turned it upside down, the shelf.
Oh.
And we just stood there bursting into laughter. So and the animals, they will handle that. You do things in a strange way. They have so much love for us. So it's good to just see that you're a student of life, and that it's okay to make mistakes, and that's what's so beautiful, really, that you're learning. I'm learning all the time about this way of life, and living, refining my life, and the whole feeling of just becoming, learning as you go is a wonderful feeling. So don't be too proud of, or don't be afraid of making mistakes, and just have a really good laugh. So it's that, in that way, it's really healthy too, that you get to laugh at yourself and laugh at each other. So and
Yeah,
we humans have been living with the land forever. So it's natural. So deep in your DNA, all the wisdom is there. So it's just a matter of tapping into it.
that's a very beautiful message, because if it's your dream to live that lifestyle, then don't let your lack of experience or knowledge on it, hold you back from going after your dream, because as you say, you'll learn on the job, and nature is the greatest teacher in that field.
Really.
So thank you for
Yeah.
that.
You're
Well,
welcome.
yeah, is there anything else you would like to share?
I think we've talked about many things. Yeah. So I think we've gone around really most of life, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been
So yeah,
yeah, a beautiful conversation. I'm
I
so
think
grateful for you to come on. Where can people find you?
yeah. So the two YouTube channels are Katrina R, as I said, and Shining Our Bright Light, and you can write under the videos. I don't make many
Yeah,
videos
I'll put them in
anymore.
the
I think I'm sort of
description.
I think I'm sort of maybe finishing off, but there are so many things there. So I invite people to write to me, to my email, which you can also maybe link
Mhm.
in the show notes. It's called 8 Living to Love dash gmail.com, I think.
I'll
But
copy
if you
it
write
from
it
our
there,
emails. Yeah.
yeah, you write the email to them there, and so you're very welcome to ask me anything you want to ask. But of course, it's best to ask on YouTube, because then others can see what we're writing. So that's really mainly what they're there for. Really, the films now, I think, because I've just talked about really everything I felt I had in my heart I wanted to share. And so if there's somebody, and also I do healing sessions for people, where I use something called the emotion code and other different tools, kinesiology, muscle testing. So that's also something I offer. And you just write to my email, and we can make an arrangement. So yeah, that's where you
Amazing.
can find me.
Yes, I'll
So
direct
yeah, but I
everyone
want to
towards
say,
you.
yes, I want to just say thank you, and for having me. It's been a real great pleasure, and wish you all the best on your journey of having your channel and what you want to share. So it's very wonderful
Thank you
to be
very
sharing,
much.
yeah, this beautiful message that we can actually have a really, really good life, and we just have to find the natural solutions. Often it's the natural solutions that are the best.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, thank you for coming on.
You're so welcome. Take care.